Hi everyone, this is my run on the Wild Child of the Veldt, which is Gau's last chapter, and this battle is specifically the Lufenia stage and will be a submission for the TCC challenge. As always, before going into the actual battle, I'll be giving a quick description on what the TCC challenge requirements are, fight overview and party setup, and then only into the actual battle. I will also be including a timestamp in the video description, so in case you want to jump ahead, you can use the timestamp to go to the section that you are interested in. So coming to this TCC challenge, there are not many restrictions in place given that this is a Lufenia stage. So 3 characters are banned overall, which is Gao, 8 and Kuja. However, you can use any friend units, including either Gao, 8 or Kuja as a friend unit. In your main party, you can equip burst weapons, but you cannot enter burst mode with your party members. For your friend support unit, if your support unit can use burst, you are allowed to use burst specifically on the support unit. Other than that, all summons are allowed and any other character is allowed for the challenge. So coming to this actual battle itself, there's 3 waves and they are all comprising of the same enemy, which is the ancestor monster. On the first wave, it's a single ancestor. On the second wave is 2, and then there are 3 ancestors on the final wave. There are a few things that you need to take note of and prepare yourself for accordingly. So firstly, on the first wave, when the ancestor hits 29% health or below, you will get a text prompt saying that it's preparing for a group attack. And when you see that prompt, it means that you need to kill it before it does its next AoE attack. You can look at who it's targeting, and about a turn after the message comes up, it will start targeting all. And if you let it get a turn after that, it will use Blaze Breath Plus, which is right here. So which is quite deadly as an AoE attack because it dispels all your buffs, its own debuffs, before unleashing a massive attack. And so the goal is to try to kill it before it uses Blaze Breath Plus. It is possible to kill it off very quickly if you have heavy DPS characters or some form of turn manipulation, turn deletion, or delay. Secondly, on the subsequent waves, so on wave 2 and wave 3, the ancestors will never use Blaze Breath Plus, so this is a unique attack that is only on the first wave. Also, on the first wave, the Lufenia orb will not be present because it only triggers when they come in a group of 2 or 3. So on the second and third wave, while you do not have to deal with Breath Plus, you do have to consider how to deal with the Lufenia orb, and each ancestor will have its own orb and its own orb countdown. The only way to increase the orb counter is to deal earth damage, and unfortunately for this challenge, Gao is a banned character and there aren't many other earth based characters. At the top of my head, Elise has earth in her rotation, but it's very infrequent and it only targets one enemy. And likewise, Ishtola also has earth in her stone plus attack, but it also only targets one enemy. And Ishtola is also quite outdated as a character. My choice of Earth element comes with a Relm pet with Brother's Summon because it is also an AoE attack. And through the sketch mechanic, Relm gets many turns after that and can actually significantly extend the orb countdown by spamming her sketch summon. On the final wave, you then can actually summon brothers to buy you additional turns to burst them down. Otherwise, the third and final thing that you need to take note of is that each time when they use Blaze Breath, it actually dispels all their own debuffs. So the it can be quite an annoyance depending on who you have in your party. So in my party, I have Relm, Vivi, and Basch, and I have to keep an eye out on when they use Blaze Breath because, for one thing, Blaze Breath will remove Sketch debuff, and so I will need to reapply Sketch or save Realm's EX, and use it right after they use Blaze Breath to reapply Sketch. Secondly, and more dangerously, I also use Basch as my tank in this party, and with Basch in the party, the thing you need to watch out for is Blaze Breath will also cleanse the lock debuff that Basch can inflict. And so, a few turns after using Blaze Breath, until Basch can reapply lock, the other party members are still vulnerable to the Ancestor's attacks. So, beyond Relm and Basch, my third party member of choice here is Vivi, and that's mainly for the heavy AoE DPS that Vivi has, and the ability to imperil fire as well in his attacks. But similarly, same thing here, when they use Blaze Breath, they can cleanse the fire imperil. So Vivi's DPS is slightly handicapped in this fight, but otherwise he still does very significant damage, especially on the second and third waves, where his LD Embers of Darkness attack deals 100% splash damage. With this party composition, however, there is no healer. Basch can only self-heal, but he cannot heal the rest of the party. And so because of Vivi's life-draining attacks, Relm and Vivi will get pretty low. And this means that Basch needs to be in the field 100% of the time to try to take the frequent Blaze Breath attacks, and to also reapply lock-on to protect Relm and Vivi. There was one run I did where I tried to swap Basch out on the final wave for another DPS character, and unfortunately, without him in the field, Relm and Vivi died to a Blaze Breath attack. So, lesson learned, it's far safer to keep Basch in the field so that he can keep the rest of the party alive. Summon of choice here, with Relm in the party, it's a no-brainer. It has to be Brothers, so that she can help to extend the orb counter through her Sketch Summon attack. And lastly, in terms of friend support, because no friend support are restricted, my friend support that I used was a Kuja support. With that said, let's move into the battle. I'll see you there. Right, so staying on the first wave, from 100% to 29%, it's actually a honeymoon phase of the entire fight, because the Ancestor on wave 1 will never use Blaze Breath. It will only use Blaze Breath Plus when its HP reaches 29%. So from 100% to 29% health, it only does single target Brave attacks, and will only do HP attacks if you let it gather significant Brave amounts. So long as you deal steady DPS and keep the Ancestor broken, the first 70% of its health is actually very straightforward. And because of this, I do try to be a bit more conservative in skill uses at the start of the first wave. And right here with Vivi, I chose not to use his LD yet, because it's really not needed at this point of the game, and I'd rather have his LD for when I need to burst down the Ancestor at the last 29% of his health, and also on the later waves when the Lufenia orb is present. With Basch also, because there are no Blaze Breath attacks on the first wave, there's no need to use any of Basch's LD skills so fast, so I just used his skill 1 and skill 2, keep the Ancestor taunted on Basch, while Vivi and Relm deal steady DPS to it. Okay, so it's at 32% health, and here I made a mistake. I should be using Vivi's LD here to bring it down to 29%, so that I get the free Embers of Darkness follow-up attack. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying close attention to its health, and so I triggered the 29% health threshold before Vivi uses his LD, which is really not optimal. And I actually now give myself only these 3 to 4 turns to kill it off. You can see it's now targeting all. Its next turn will be Blaze Breath Plus and will likely kill off both Vivi and Relm. So I'm trying very hard to kill it off now, and on Vivi's next turn I immediately use his LD. But really it should have been used 1 turn earlier. And I would have gotten another turn of Embers of Darkness in if I did so. Okay, so I use Catch Plus here to get another free turn right before the Ancestor get a turn. And unfortunately here I have no choice but to buy myself additional turns because its next turn will kill my party members off. So I spammed Realm's AA in order to allow the Ancestor to recover from break, so that I can then break it and get one last turn in with Vivi. So it's at 2% health, so there's no need to use Vivi's EX here. So I just use a normal fire skill to finish it off. Okay, so starting on wave 2, wave 2 do have the Ancestor starting to use Blaze Breath, and you can see the Ancestor A is already targeting all, so which is a signal that it's about to use Blaze Breath. Here you do need to start using Basch's LD to get his Indomitable LD buff. So as long as Basch has Indomitable up and has 50% or more health, you don't have to worry about Blaze Breath at all. The other thing is now then to keep the Ancestors locked onto Basch. They do frequently cleanse their debuffs, so you do need to keep an eye out on that. And if you need to save Relm or Vivi from an attack, that's when you should use Basch's S1 to reapply lock on. So with Relm, I'm also being a bit more conservative with her Sketch Summon because I plan to use it more and the orb is present to increase the orb counter. So I'm leaning more towards Sketch or her HP attack plus to build up the EX meter. Okay, the orb is up. So on the second wave, I'm still trying to save on the summon and the Kuja friend support here so that I can use them on the final wave. If you do need to, you can actually bring in either the summon or the friend support unit, because I feel only one is really needed for the final wave. But as long as you play carefully, there's really no need to. So once the orb is up on the second wave, Relm is actually just alternating between her EX and Sketch Summon. So Sketch Summon should quickly build up her EX meter, and her EX meter will reapply Sketch debuff. And at the same time, Sketch Summon, when spammed, will keep the orb counter relatively high, especially since Relm gets free turns after the Ancestors act. With Vivi, it's really applying steady DPS with his attacks and the Embers of Darkness full up attack, and you should be comfortably finishing off the Ancestors without too much trouble. Okay, so the orb counter is at 4 and Ancestor has 2% health. Technically speaking, I may be able to just finish it off with 2 HP plus attack. But I decided not to take a risk, so I use 1 sketch plus sketch attack here. It gets a turn. Now Relm has a free follow-up here, but the orb counter is at 1. So at this point, I'm not sure whether an HP plus attack will kill off. So I decided not to take a risk and just use 1 sketch summon here. So that even if it doesn't kill off, it will have increased the counter by 2. Okay, third and final wave. It's actually a repeat of wave 2 in terms of strategy. So make sure Basch's Indomitable buff is always up. Be a bit careful with Relm skill users because at this point she's running a bit low. However, because you do have Kuja, friend support and summon still available, wave 3 will end pretty quickly by spamming huge AoE attacks. So Vivi is also running low on his LD, and my strat going to the final wave is just using up Vivi's remaining Embers of Darkness charges, and then I will swap him out for the Kuja support. Another option is to swap Relm out for Kuja support and then summon. With Kuja and Vivi in the field, you should be able to quickly finish them off at the 50% mark. So I was thinking of summoning here, but I got a bit greedy because I saw that Sketch is still debuffed on the Ancestors. So I decided to use Vivi's last Embers of Darkness and his double fire attack here because I will be swapping him out soon. Right, so Ancestor B use kick turn, Relm gets a free turn after that due to Sketch, and this is where I decided to pop my summon. So at this point, I decided to swap out Vivi since he doesn't have any more Embers of Darkness. You can see here that the Ancestors are already pretty low, and you could actually bring in Kuja a bit earlier. It's probably more efficient and you can finish the fight a little bit more quicker. The route that I took was a bit of a safer run where I decided not to bring in Kuja or summon unless I really needed to. And hence I actually summoned and brought in the Kuja support a bit later than what I anticipated. Anyway, that's it. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please leave a like, leave a comment or subscribe. It really helps. Till then, I'll see you in the next Lufenia fight. Bye bye.